Hi, I'm Blake Alexander, and this is my Module 10, Safe Schools. All right, so my first slide kind of just has the standards for this assignment. I just wanted to go over them before I got into the articles. So it says a community of care and support for students. And number two is about um, that the school leader understands how to create and sustain a school environment in which each student is known, accepted, and valued, and encouraged to be active and responsible member of the school community. And when we get into the articles, it'll talk quite a bit about that, building a cohesiveness or a sense of belonging and team and kind of the core beliefs for your group. And then it also talks about the leader knows how to provide resources for academic and social support, which also goes into your bullying because you're developing all the policies and the systems that are in place to help prevent bullying and deal with it when that does happen. And then number four says understands how to promote adult student and student peer and school and community relationships. And as we were going through the article and talking about bullying, a lot of it is all about teachers building relationships with their students and their students building relationships with each other. And so we'll get into that in a second. And then number five says understands how to cultivate and reinforce student engagement in school and positive student conduct. So that all goes back into developing the policies to make that happen. So when we get into the articles, summarizing them, the first one, it was 3 essential priorities for a school. It really just talked about the 3 things: emphasizing a caring and inclusive school environment, which is exactly what goes along with the standards. Um, Equipping your staff and faculty to embrace their own leadership rules. So really just preparing them to be leaders. So not just getting the students ready, but also teaching the teachers how to do that, just like the standard said. And then collaborating with your community, getting your community involved um, should be a main priority to reach your students. The second article, how feeling respected transforms a student's relationship to school. And so some of the things I took for in and out of school suspensions have come under increasing scrutiny. I know my school definitely is taking that road. We don't do very many of these at all anymore, especially out of school ones. And some people really disagree with it. But this article kind of went through and talked about the benefits of it and how when people are suspended from school or kicked out of school for even small periods of time, they end up dropping out. The dropout rate's way higher. So it just kind of stated some facts and things like that with what really is best for our students. And then it talked about how students need to be believed in something as simple as just writing a note, going over it and saying that you believe in them. Really just took students to that next level when it comes to knowing or to believing in themselves and working hard in class. Just having a note that shows that somebody believes in them and is paying attention to them, it can really change their scores just from that. And it all goes back to like the standard says, building relationships with your students, and having that good rapport and having them feel comfortable. The next one was creating a warm and friendly environment. It says create a warm and well decorated room, and then classroom procedures, transitions, meetings. So it all goes back to just having good things in place that can be preventative, um, you know, to things like bullying and behavioral issues coming about later. So just talk about how you decorate your classroom and how welcoming it is has a direct impact on students' emotions and how they feel, and it plays a role in their behavior. So just had some great ideas with that, and then classroom procedures and um, just having things in place and practicing them so that again it's preventative. The fourth article was strategies for building a productive and positive learning environment. So it just talked about positive and productive learning environment equals academic, emotional, and social success. So again, we always ask ourselves what's best for students, um, and that's what having that positive, productive learning environment would be what's best for students. So it says make learning relevant, develop a code of conduct, employ a positive action curriculum, help students develop intrinsic motivation, reinforce positive behaviors, always respond with positivity. So it really goes back to that positive discipline or positive reinforcement and reinforcing positive behavior and recognizing positive behavior for those students. The 4 articles I selected, the first one was preventing bullying with emotional intelligence. And it was just pretty much what it sounds like. It says emotions are at the heart of bullying. Bullying has adverse emotional consequences for all players. 49 states now have anti-bullying legislation. Emotional intelligence was defined as the ability to recognize emotion in themselves and others. So it's really about getting students to, recognize what they're feeling and being able to express it, and then recognizing by looking at other people, talking to other people, how they're feeling. And it talks about how it can be taught just like math or reading. And when it comes to bullying and things like that, I think it's definitely makes sense for somebody to understand, hey, why am I doing this to this person? It's because I feel this way, or why this person's saying this. Why do I feel this way? So it's just a way to teach students to regulate their emotions and handle them in a constructive way that's going to help them in the future. So that was probably my favorite article, the ones that I picked out. The next one was set policies and rules. It was from stopbullying.gov. And so it pretty much just listed like the policies and rules that stopbullying.gov believed should be implemented. So if you're going to make a policy or a plan, it's kind of has some guidelines for that. So it says, have a school mission statement, have a code of conduct, make a student's bill of rights, include the staff and train them in bullying prevention, and establish a reporting system. So it's just some good things to have in place that, my school doesn't even really have in place specifically to bullying when it comes to like reporting or anything like that. So it's just kind of some policies that you can have in place for that. The next article that I had was bullying prevention in public schools from NEA. It says it just provided NEA recommendations, like have staff training, put out climate surveys to see, maybe more bullying is taking place than you thought or where it's taking place. You can find that out through a climate survey, and then provide professional development to educate your teachers on how to deal with it and make policies for it. And then went on a little bit more about what exactly bullying is and the definition of that and who is more at risk for bullying. And the next article is how to prevent bullying, again from stopbullying.gov. So it talked about different ways you could educate students on bullying, keeping the lines of communication open. Again, going back to being able to report it and talk about it. And then it talked about the importance of teachers, faculty, staff modeling how to treat others. And then a big part of it, like I said, was encouraging kids to talk about it and be able to report about it, knowing what it is, and also what it's not, so that they're not, reporting things as bullying that they aren't, and then knowing who to talk to about it. Okay, so what procedures and policies are missing if various types of bullying are happening at different locations? So in the classroom, some things that can be put into place that prevent the bullying from happening is having a code of conduct, having a student's bill of rights to reference, building relationships with your class, having team building activities and things like that, and just working on classroom environment mostly and setting expectations for your students for how they should behave, how they should treat each other, and really just reviewing that all the time and having positive reinforcement in place for when you see it happening, when you see people being nice to each other. So some ways to prevent it from, outside the classroom, our PBIS system really works in a lot of this stuff. We really post our expectations everywhere. Our expectations are posted in the hallway. Our cafeteria expectations are posted. Our outside expectations are posted. And I think that's something that my school used to do that was really cool was, they would, if expectations weren't being met, they would actually have like a workshop with just that class to go over those expectations. Or teachers would make videos that they'd show at the school assembly about the expectations at recess. So I think those are some preventative ways to show those things and make sure those expectations are in point, expectations are shown so that everybody knows them. So that's some things that can be put into place. Also reinforcing positive behaviors and supervision. That's the biggest thing when you get outside the classroom, um, is being able to have people supervise students, and so being able to up supervision and that just can help um, with a few of the major bullying things. Okay, what happens to the various types of bullying and locations when several steps have been taken to follow the standards that were embedded for this module? I think first, it definitely reduces the risk of bullying. It, isn't going to eliminate it all the time. Okay, kids are still going to make mistakes, um, but putting all these things in place are ways that can prevent bullying from happening in all different areas. And having a good plan that talks about, what type of bullying happens in the classroom and outside, and how we can prevent it, and how we should treat each other, is definitely going to limit the amount of bullying that's taking place. And in some of the articles I read, some of those studies had shown that they show that since people have become more aware of bullying, it has reduced in many areas. And then here are my references. And that's my video. Thanks for watching.